happy, whatever today is, Thursday evening. I am excited to have you join us. We are coming to you live as part of Parent Tween Connection Talks. We have Safiya Omosanya with us tonight, coming from the Chicagoland area. So, hi, Safiya. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Hey, when we invite folks to apply to join our conversations here at Parent Tween Connection Talks, I always look for an array of professionals, whether it's moms, dads, all kinds of experiential backgrounds, whether that's, they were single parents, married parents, not parents like me, and certainly an array of professional backgrounds and experiences. And so, Safiya, your topic tonight really struck a chord to me or with me because it really focuses a lot on what I call emotional safety.
Mhm.
So, just a little plug. I'm super excited based on my own experiences. But for folks who are tuning in, I'm Clarissa. I'm the founder of the Parent Tween Connection. I believe that community and connection can be built, can be learned. And part of the way that we do that is by bringing folks like Safiya in to have conversations with us. So, who is Safiya? Why did I ask her aside from the topic? She's a national board certified occupational therapist with a specialization in mental health. She's a trauma informed life coach, and she's also an EFT practitioner who specializes in helping moms break generational cycles and create emotionally safe homes. So, we're going to have a two-part conversation. This first one is coming to you on our Facebook page, LinkedIn page, and YouTube. The second part of our conversation, where we're going to be diving deeper into what emotional intelligence is and why it's so essential for being an effective parent, that is exclusively for members of Parent Tween Village. If you're not part of Parent Tween Village yet, come on over and check it out. So, first of all, Safiya,
Mhm.
why? Tell me. You talk about creating a safe space or like being emotionally safe. What
Mhm.
does that look like, first of all, and why is that safety so critical? And then we'll take the steps to talk about how to develop it.
Okay, awesome. So I was actually talking to my children about it, because just recently my oldest, well, first of all, I have three daughters. So my youngest will be 11, actually in exactly 1 week. And then my middle, she's 17, going on 18 in January. And then the oldest is 20, going on 21 in December. So, um, it was maybe about a week and a half ago. My oldest came and gave me a hug, and she said, "This is what safety feels like." Right? And so I just isn't that just I mean, that just like melted my heart. Because of course they know the language because again, I'm a trauma informed coach and I work with people, so and I talk to them and I share everything. So they know the language about safety and what that means. But
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to them and I just asked them like, well, why do you feel safe with me? Like, what is it? And some of the things that they said, well, one of my daughters said that I was emotionally mature. And I'm going to say most of the time. I'm not. I'm not all the time. I'm not. I'm going to be honest with you. But
Sure.
having emotional maturity myself, and it wasn't always like that. I was not emotionally mature at all. When my two oldest were younger, I was very emotionally immature, and I would yell. I would lose control. Once in a while, lay hands on on them, stoop to their level, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have done over the years is, first of all, I took many courses,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of learn, how to be an effective parent because I would always end up having guilt
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, and then I would
Mm-hmm.
talk to them and say, I'm sorry, okay, next time, I'm gonna do better, right? And that was what the
Sure.
conversation looked like, right? So, but I took many classes, but what the most helpful because you can get the skills and the education, which is important because people don't know, like, that's what I mean
Sure.
when I say cycle breaker, is because I will be 50 in a few months. And so the way I was raised and just it was just totally different. And
Mhm.
so in order for me to show up and parent differently, I had to break cycles of
Absolutely.
familiarity, right?
Well,
So
and so often parents, from my observation, again, I don't have kids myself, but
okay.
having watched the people around me who have children, the
Mhm.
pattern seems to be either that they parent very similarly to the way that they were parented, or they're like, the hell with that. I'm never going to be like that. And they try to do a 180 and they miss the like
Yes.
179.9 degrees in the middle, right? But it's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
we live in such a binary this or that, yes or no, black and white kind of world, that
Yes.
that's just kind of how the brain works. So
It is.
I
It
love
is.
hearing that
And
you
it,
learned.
yeah, and it is, and that's called, they call that the pendulum, like swinging the pendulum. But what I've learned about that is, and I'll try to explain it from the three different places that I heard it, but when you're doing that, when you're trying to be so different, the
Mm-hmm.
frame of reference is still the what you're used to, right? And
Right.
so you go complete opposite based on what what you didn't like, but it may not be the way you're parenting, and most likely it's not what's best for your kid.
Mm-hmm.
So you're parenting based on, I'm going to be different, right? And then it just causes a host of other problems
Mm-hmm.
because your parents are still the frame of reference instead of like,
Sure.
what is best for my children and my family, this person in front of me, because they're not you,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so, and then another place where I heard about it, with this one guy, I think his name was Jerry Wise, and he called it like the pendulum life. And it's like, you're like, oh no, I didn't do things like my parents. And it's like, yeah, he was like, but you're still like, they're here and you're like here, but it's still dysfunction. Like it's because
Right.
again, they're still the
Right.
frame of reference, right?
Absolutely.
So it's that doesn't work too well. um,
So then
mhm.
what were some of the things you said? You took classes, you had conversations, you felt like you were
Yeah.
saying I'm sorry as much as anything else, I'm guessing,
Yes,
right?
yes, 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 yes.
And as I say to the kids in my world, I'm sorry is all fine and well, but unless we see some efforts towards changing the behavior, what does I'm sorry really mean?
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. So
So
glad you asked. Glad you asked.
what'd
So
you learn?
so first of all, I learned about conscious parenting. That was very helpful. That it's not about the kid. Like a lot of times we're looking at the kid's behavior. And yes, I did take responsibility. I was like, mommy is losing control, but I still was more looking at like their behaviors and like what could I do to help change their behaviors, right? My own self too, but mainly it was like them, like, okay, they're
Mhm.
being disrespectful, things like that, right? So conscious parenting has you as the parent to like look within, right?
Sure.
Because your kids are actually they're being affected by the way you're showing up. And so however your kids, whatever they're displaying, it's you looking back and yourself and saying, well, what can I learn about me? Um,
Mhm.
because we all have this little, they call it the inner child, and
Mhm.
we all have inner child, and we're in adult bodies, but we all have this inner child, and a lot of the times, like I'll say, my middle daughter, she was very, I'll call her spicy, and and what I realized about her was once I looked at things, I'm like, oh wait, she is the me that wasn't really accepted, right? Like my mom
Uh-huh.
used to say things like, when you grow up, I hope you have a daughter just like you, right? So that's basically saying, well, I'm not really okay with how you
Payback.
are, and so here I am with this kid that is showing up like me, and I'm in the ring and we're battling back and forth. So I had to take a look and say, wait a minute, what was it? How was I? And what did that feel like to not be fully accepted as I am? And so I had to kind of deal with that. Those like parts of
Mhm.
myself that were not okay, that were considered angry and hostile. And all of a sudden I had, looked at her more in compassionate eyes. And then I started to treat her like, how would I have wanted to be treated? Growing up, right? I would have wanted to be accepted, talked to respectfully, things like that, right? So the conscious parenting thing helped me kind of taking a look at myself. But the biggest thing that helped for me was working on regulating my nervous system. Because when you have a dysregulated nervous system, right? And so you have these kids and you're getting triggered and your system is going into fight or flight, sometimes freeze, and you're being reactive. So front part of the brain goes offline, right? And your emotional brain is online. And now you're battling, right? And you keep losing your cool. So I kind of stumbled across regulating myself emotionally by accident. Because I'm an emotional freedom technique practitioner, every day I would just go tell the kids, I'm going to go and do some tapping. It was every day. And then I would sit with myself and I would say, well, what's bothering you today? What's coming up for you? And then I would just, tap and get everything out. And so I didn't realize that what happens is like, say you have, like I have this jug here. And so think about life, and you have your own unresolved, childhood wounding. Then you have stress on top of it, and your nervous system is already dysregulated, and you just keep adding the stress on. It's like a pressure cooker, right? So then you try to change at a behavior level, and it just doesn't work because you already, it's like, right. So as I was working on doing emotional freedom technique and getting the stuff out on a daily basis and regulating my nervous system, then I had more capacity. And then all of a sudden I just changed. It's like, I went from like screaming and losing my cool to like, just chill, and the kids pick that up. They feel that safety. If your nervous system is in survival and you're like yelling and you're angry, it's not safety. Like there's something called mirror neurons, right? And the kids are like reading your nervous system. And if yours is broadcasting, I'm in survival, danger, they're picking that up. So you're not going to be safe. So that's really how you provide safety, is you have to take care of your own nervous system and learn to regulate yourself.
And that so many of the guests that we talk to and so many of the professionals that I've engaged with in the space of, working with families say to moms, especially, you've got to put your own mask on first, like they say on the airplane, right? And yet I also see so many moms who are caught in the cycle of how do I even do that? Like I was talking to one mom recently who was dealing with some pretty big stuff. And she said, the rage that I felt scared me. Right. And again, it's a really tough spot to be in. And I have to imagine that every mom has been there in some fashion, right? Whether it's caused by the kids' behavior, whether it's caused by the partner, the ex-partner, the boss, the drivers on the way home, like whatever it is. I know I've been there with some of my friends' kids and they're not even mine. And I'm not with them 24/7, that I'm like, I like kind of joke, kind of don't joke. Like I understand why some species eat their young, because sometimes like the children, whether they're 2 or 22, are infuriating with their behaviors. So like for the moms who are in that like super high stress, high intensity, sit here going, you know what, to hell with both of you telling you I got to put my life mask on. I don't know where the freaking life mask is, right? Like, what are some tangible things that you can offer them, like right here, right now? We've got to have, some folks tuned in when they go to the bathroom or while they're at a stoplight in the car. Like, what are some things that they can do to get closer to that emotional regulation? Because I think it's also this idea, we fall into the idea of like, I'm regulated or I'm dysregulated. And again, there's a spectrum.
Yeah.
right? Of dysregulation. Like it's like I'm a little off my game or I'm about to go cray cray.
Yeah. Yes. So okay, so my favorite one is like EFT, right? Tapping. It's called tapping. So I'll just show a quick what is the word I'm looking for? Oh goodness, I don't know what I want to say, but it's a technique and it's a spot, but that's not what I want to say. But it's not coming to me. But I just want to show a demonstration of what you can do. There's this one specific spot. It's under the collarbone, and they can just tap there. And this is what I would do. And I would tap any and everywhere, right? I'm driving in the car, right? I'm crying and I'm tapping and I'm just getting out my frustrations, right? And so a few things are happening when you are tapping. And this is one of the points that acupuncturists put needles in, but we're using our fingertips. Okay. So as we're tapping on the body, we're sending a calming signal to the amygdala saying, you're safe. It's okay. Right. So you got that going on. You're sending a signal, telling the amygdala, it's okay, calm down. And then you are speaking out the frustration at the same time. So they call it modern psychology meets Eastern medicine. That's what we say in the EFT world. Okay. So you get out the frustrations, or like some people like to journal. For me, tapping is easier because journaling takes, you got to get your pad. I do journal too. I don't call it journaling. I call it like swamping or expressive writing or rage writing. But sometimes you might not have that pad with you to be able to write. And this is the fastest way. Just get it out, rage, say whatever, and tap right under the collarbone. And just, that's it. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I've been driving and I'm just like, and then next thing you know, I'm like, well, coming up with solutions. Why? Because it puts you back in the front part of your brain. Okay. So that's something that I could offer. Try that one out.
All right. So can you still hear me?
Yep.
Great. Because I can't hear you. My headphone's completely disconnected. Oh. So I heard none of that, but I saw you tapping. So we're just going to keep rolling. Okay. And so since we're, if you had, I've got 2 wrap-up questions before we hit the half hour of our time together or so. My first question is, if you had one message for a mom who recognizes that she'd really like to break the cycle, but she doesn't know where to start. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Regulate your nervous system. That's the one thing that I learned. Again, all of the education stuff is super important, but you can't change at that behavior level if your nervous system is in survival. So you have to start regulating your nervous system. And like I said before, if you don't, things just keep piling up. So start there, regulating your nervous system. That is the first thing. Can you hear me now? I hope you can. No?
All right.
Okay.
I still can't hear you.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to going back and listening to what you actually had to say.
All right.
But then here's my wrap-up question for you. So much of what we do at Parent Tween Connection obviously is about connection. And so, I have a background as a test prep coach. I've worked with tens of thousands of kids over the years who are looking to go to college, having to take SAT, ACT, those types of tests, or some of the grad school admissions tests. And over the years, so many of them have chosen to come and talk to me about some pretty heavy stuff along the way, and they haven't yet talked to their parents. Mm-hmm. And so I sat down with myself at one point. I was like, all right, self, what is it that you provide, or somebody that's not mom or dad, right, can provide that gives them some of that emotional safety, mm-hmm. right, along the way? And so I came up with the acronym CONNECTION. And so in order, we've got 10 concepts, and I'd love to know, obviously the create a safe space is going to be one of them. But the others are observe, non-judgment, nod and smile, as in zip it. The E is either explore or educate. The next C is challenge your truths. And is it really true, or could something else be true at the same time, for example? The T is take your time. Then we have innovate. We have own your own story. And the last one is nurture. And so I'm curious, which of those like kind of caught your attention and why?
Goodness. And you can't hear me. So goodness, that was non-judgment. Non-judgment. My children told me the reason why they feel so safe with me and they can talk to me about anything. I'm very blessed because I know that there's a lot of children out there that can't talk to their parents. And I have children that are able to talk to me, and they said, because I'm non-judgmental and I validate whatever they come to me with, so they can come to me with anything. So, yeah.
All right. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this portion of our conversation. And Safiya, I'm going to ask you, for anyone who's tuning in, if they want to learn more about you, learn more about the tapping that you mentioned, the emotional freedom technique, or some of the supports that you offer, where can they find you?
So I am on LinkedIn at Safiya Omosanya, Safiya Omosanya. I'm also on Instagram at Safiya, Safiya _ breaks the cycle. So you can find me there.
Okay, cool. So if you're tuning in, if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you do that so that you know when we go live with experts like Safiya. It can happen anytime, day or night. We bring people in from all around the world. I actually just had two folks book times last night. One is in Johannesburg, South Africa, and the other is in Tokyo. So we really try to cast a wide net to bring professionals from an array, like I said, of backgrounds and geographies. So make sure that you click on subscribe. And if you are not yet a member of Parent Tween Village and you'd like to learn more about our community, where we've got, again, community, we've got companionship, moral support, and more education, pop on over to parent_tween village. And with that, Safiya, stand by. Thank you for joining me. And we'll head over to Parent Tween Village in just a minute.